I want you to know, knowledge is power, ignorance is evil.
All right, ladies and gentlemen, today we have an amazing guest, and his name is Dr. Turi. Dr. Turi is a world-famous UFO contactee and clinical hypnotherapist. He is the author of many books, and his profound cosmic wisdom continues to astonish skeptics and believers alike. He has been featured on national television programs such as NBC's Ancient Mysteries series, TLC, the Discovery Channel, and in countless radio and televised programs worldwide. And his predictions are so accurate that the government has paid him a visit twice. Dr. Turi regularly warns the world with all his well-documented, undeniable predictions. And in this podcast, we're going to find out about some of his latest predictions. So hold on, people, because this is going to be one exciting podcast. Dr. Turi, I am so pleased to have you here. Thank you so much for joining me.
You're surely welcome. I want to thank you to be a platform to pass on my cosmic wisdom to your audience. Really happy to be here with you, my friend.
Thank you. All right. So before we get into any of your predictions, you as in your bio, you are a UFO contactee. So have you had any recent UFO experiences?
Oh, yes. Oh, yes. You can. I have altogether 7. I mean, it looks like if those entities are looking after me like bees on honey's. You know, you got to have a certain astrological chart with a lot of Aquarius or the planet Uranus, which was that type of phenomenon to attract those experiences. And on top of that, you also have to be open. You know, a magnet will attract a piece of wood. So if you're open to those experiences, you're going to bring them to you. So yes, I am literally loaded with UFOs experience. And again, for your audience, my movie, Alien Contactee, is giving you a good explanation of 5 of those. And my last 2 experiences are quite extraordinary. They happened to me just a couple months ago.
Can you tell us what happened?
Yeah. I decided to work for FedEx because I do have friends and students in New York. And since I have my Class A license, why not doing it? And especially when, it pays good money. So instead of staying on in my office all the time, jump in the truck and get to see America like I never seen before. Yeah. So it was pretty interesting. And my company sent me to Las Vegas with a couple of trailers to drop some stuff that's supposed to go from there north of California. And so I did the trip. Everything was absolutely perfect and came back. And then they said to me, Louis, we have another 2 loads. You need to go back. So here you go. The truck is loaded and I'm leaving. And let's get the story short. It's about 2 o'clock in the morning. I'm a little upset because I'm trying to listen to the recap of George Norrie on Coast to Coast, because I was a guest on his show many times. And because I was in the middle of nowhere, I couldn't get the signal. And I was at 65 miles per hour. That's the maximum speed that the truck can give us. And I was on Highway 93 going north. And as I did the night before, I know exactly the area because I took this highway 100 times. And even when I got married in Vegas, I took that same highway. So I know it very well. And then the highway has two lanes. And then there is no traffic in front of me. There is no traffic behind me. I'm at 65 miles per hour. And all of a sudden, the road turns like a Y. Like, what the hell is that? I thought that wasn't there last night. And I was going so fast. So I had to take a choice which way, left or right. And I took the right side because I was on the right side of the road. And then I don't know how I did not flip these trailers because the speed I was going and that Y. And I was like in shock. I said, what the hell is this? I wasn't there last night. So I thought maybe they did something here, but it didn't make sense at all. And then the next thing I know, in less than fraction of a second, I find myself on Highway 40 going west. And the only way to go from 93 north to 40 west is to take a very, very long ramp. Okay. There's no other way. It's impossible. This ramp was there the night before, but the second night, it wasn't there. So I thought, oh my God, what happened? So I thought, okay, I know I'm going to be back tomorrow morning around 10 o'clock on my way back from Vegas, went back to Phoenix. I know. So I got to go slow, and I'm going to look if something has changed there, because that's incredible. And when you're going so fast with those trucks for security purpose, insurance purpose, FedEx has a camera. And if you jump on your brake or turn fast, those cameras inside and outside are going to come on. So it was about 10 o'clock in the morning when I came back. I just mentioned that because I called my boss after that, and I said to them, you need to look at this camera, and you need to look at the GPS, because I don't know what the hell me and 80,000 pounds of equipment went last night from one highway to the other one. So I was really, really excited to see the video where I went. Of course, first of all, there was nothing unusual when I drove back. And when my boss told me, Louis, what's happened is around 2 o'clock, we saw you before and after 2 o'clock. But there is a section of that video that's not there. We don't know what happened to it. Maybe it's a glitch. No, there is no glitch. Wow. It's just that they didn't take it off. So this is absolutely mind-boggling. And the very next day, I was supposed to go to another place, but during I had to get on my truck around 11 o'clock in the morning. So I took off from my house. I had my wife, and I was still in shock for what happened to me the night before. And the same exact thing happened again, but this one I was on I-51 going south. And then 51 takes me to 10. Next thing I know, I am 7 miles going on I-10, just before 35th Avenue. 7 miles. I mean, you can't space out for 7 miles. And you cannot space out with 80,000 pounds of equipment. Yeah. Right? Yeah. So this is two absolutely mind-boggling experience that I went through that I still don't know what happened. I believe I died that night. I believe I died, but the good extraterrestrials or the Draconis my switch from that moment to the moment and then put me back. I don't know. I'm just trying to find out. Or was it a funnel? Was it a porthole? I have absolutely no clue. I had a lot of UFOs experience, but they're all very rational. I'm there talking to those guys in the flying saucer, or there is always something, but that one is never ever something like this happened to me. That was very weird.
Whatever was involved would have to have been massive to pick up that truck and 80,000 pounds and move it around like a toy car.
It's just mind-boggling. And the next night, when I came back after that trip, my wife, it was about 11:30 at night, and my wife was kind of cleaning her car outside on the driveway. And then I was watching TV. And then she came in the house. She said, honey, there is a dog. There is a dog. I said, well, what? He's pretty big. It wasn't big. It was just a normal sized dog. And he was sitting on his bat when I went outside on my driveway. So I look around. I said, maybe his owner is walking around. So I didn't pay attention to anything. I said, no, don't worry. We have a lot of neighbors, And then about 10 minutes later, she came back again. She said, honey, there is another one. But he's tiny and he's white. So I went outside again, and I look at these two dogs right there on my driveway. So I start to walk, and they followed me. I did that because I was looking for their owner. So it has to be somebody around here, and maybe, I don't know, the gate is open. So let's walk around, see maybe if there is somebody looking for his dogs or something, some commotions. Nothing. So I went back about 15 to 20 minutes later, and I said to my wife, well, we cannot leave those dogs, outside. They might get killed. So I put them inside of my house, and I put them in my pool area. And then I put a blanket and give them some water, some food, and and the next day I'm sure we can find who owns those dogs. Put some sign or do something. Okay, and I went to bed, and my wife. She's kind of a night owl, so she went to bed around 5:30 in the morning, and she was saying to me that those two dogs were watching her walking on a treadmill through the French window, so she could see those dogs. And then she went to bed. 9 o'clock the next day, or 8:30, when I got up, I said, okay, I'm going to go and get those dogs and see what happened. I opened the door and I look around. Right? The dog was not there. I said, oh, maybe they're in the back somewhere. So I look all over my property in the back. And I have walls that are 6 feet tall. I have wire. It's impossible. It's impossible. And I have 2 huge gates with a big lock. Those dogs disappear.
Wow.
And I have a camera that is pointing outside and in front of my house. Okay. I look at the camera, nothing. 2 dogs. Now, in the name of God, those 2 dogs completely volatilized in a few hours from 5:30 to 8:30. That's the time. And I have another dog, a lady, it's a small little dog. She can hear anybody walking on the other side of the street where my TV is loud. It's amazing, that little dog. What a God she is. And she slept all through the night. She didn't hear nothing at all. And if the owners, let's say, for example, the owner is crazy enough to jump my wall, I would see it on the camera. I have guns, and it's impossible to jump those walls, especially with a wire that I have for security. So to this day, there's no explanation. Who was those dogs? Why did they come? And most of all, where did they go?
Do you think it's possible that they were either beamed out of there, or they were actually, entities taking the form of dogs and just checking
That's
you
what
out?
my wife said. This is what my wife said to me. So, and I read omens. I do dream interpretation. So I know that there are absolutely no accident on anything that can happen to you that is coming from the superconscious in time space. So to me, the omen was a dog, 2 dogs. A dog is a representation of love. In fact, I just wrote an article called Cats and Dogs in Time and Space, which is the reason why pets live with us. You can Google it, Cats and Dogs in Time and Space, Dr. Turi, and that article will come up. So dogs are a representation of love. 2 dogs is my wife and I, okay? And next thing you know, those dogs are gone. So it's an omen for my wife and I to be picked up. Are we going to be picked up? Are we coming back? I have no idea, but that's what I think it is, because my wife is 150% sure. She says these were not dogs.
Yeah, I'd like to read that article, because I would like to read about cats. When I was in college, my roommate brought home a cat, and somehow this cat just took a liking to me. I would wake up in the middle of the night and I wouldn't realize it, but the cat would be in my bed and I would roll over on top of it and we'd both freak out in the middle of the night. Or I would wake up and I'd be like, there's a warm body next to me. Who's in my bed? And then it's that cat.
And now you understand why when I was 6 years old, because I'm an ADD, I have tons of mental and physical energy. I was punished, and my mom and my dad used to put me in the attic. Okay. And I was desperate because I'm from a French Italian family. I hate to be separated from my siblings. And that's how they punished me. And every night each time I was punished, which was a lot, I was looking for a cat, because we had a butcher that was doing all the killing, and all the blood and the guts were, literally running from top of the house. And that attracted a hell of a lot of rats, and rats attract cats. And sometimes the rats was as big as cats. So I used to wake up in the morning with a rat, dead rat, and the cat didn't finish his dinner. And I was so happy when I could go there and grab a cat, because I didn't have any sort of warmth or anything else. We didn't have any windows. I was sleeping on a little mattress with a blanket. I was punished with a candlelight. So to me, having a cat was incredibly important to keep warm and to have like somebody close to me. And in the middle of the night, since that night I didn't have any cat, I felt something on my foot, which I thought was a cat. And if you watch my video on Amazon Prime, I tried to kick this cat for him to come up so I don't lose the warmth that I had under my little blanket. And then it didn't move. So I thought, okay, I got to go and get him. And then when I sat, that's for the first time in my life that I saw those 3 monkeys with big eyes, because that's all I knew as a 6 or 7-year-old kid. When I saw the gray at the bottom of my bed, oh my gosh, the big, huge house, the eyes with, they're small. To me, they were little monkeys, but they were not monkeys. And that's when I hid it. And then one of them, and I got courageous trying to look at it, if they were there or not. And one of them were like 2 inches from my face, and I pass out. I mean, that's pretty amazing that you mentioned cats. So I just wanted to throw that one away, because that was my first UFO experience. I was 6 or 7 years old.
I love how you call them monkeys, because it seems like humans and will only use the words whatever they have to describe, like in the old days, maybe you see gods flying on chariots, which are really spaceships. And one of the things that really confirmed it for me is when my son was really young and I hadn't shaven, and he had felt my face and said, "You have grass on your face." But that was his word for hair, that was what he used.
Again, you know what? There was no UFO researcher. There was nobody there that could explain to me what the hell that was. To me, they were little monkey with big eyes. And incidentally, there was a lot of, during the 50s or the 60s, there was a lot of reports from Russia of those monkey-like reports. A lot of kids like me saw those ETs, and they could refer to them as, as little monkeys.
Certain point in time, there was like a lot of sightings going on. I think in the 40s and 50s is probably when that happened for you, right?
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, 50. I was born in 1950, so I'm 70 years old, and I was 6 or 7 years old, as far as I can recall. Yeah, long time ago.
Well, you live in the Phoenix area, and I feel like, coming down from Nevada, that's kind of a corridor for UFOs. Were you there when the Phoenix lights were there? And if do you
No,
feel...
I was living in California during those days. I was not there. But it is definitely a corridor, especially that 93 highway. It's a very picturesque. It's a really, really good thing to do if you want to take a road trip and you're in LA. You want to go on 10, and then you want to take the 93, and then you want to the 40, and then you take the 93, and then you go back from the 10. You make a loop. It's a really beautiful, absolutely incredible sight, and it's definitely very hot for UFOs. So it's a good idea to go when the moon is waxing, and then when there is a Uranic window, because extraterrestrials do not enter our dense physical world when they feel like. They have to choose a very specific cosmic energy that endorse their endeavors to come to a very different system, into this system. So there is funnels, and that's why I might have just gone through one of these funnels and end up in a different place in time. I don't know what the hell I went.
I find it interesting that you said when the moon is waxing, and I can't remember if that's the first 14 days or the second 14 days of the cycle.
Yeah.
And I think 93 goes northwest. You're not going straight up like through Sedona and Flagstaff area.
No. That would be the 17.
17, okay.
The 17 would go to Flagstaff and Sedona.
Yeah.
Okay. But the 93, you take the 60 and then the 93 to go to Las Vegas. That's, you're going that way. I know that road very well. Yeah, I mean, as far as the moon is concerned, you probably heard of a farmer's almanac.
Right.
They don't plant when they feel like. They don't plant in the middle of the winter also. So it's logical. The moon is so much more than a dead rock hanging up there for the sake of beauty. She regulates the emotional response to life of every single human being. That's where the word lunatic, moody, crabby comes from, which is our subconscious response to our closest satellite. And we all know in time of a full moon, things goes out of order. Everything goes berserk, so to speak. So knowing your moon location in your chart depicts your domesticity. I have a good friend of mine. He was born with the moon in Cancer. He cooks better than any woman. He's a guy. Yeah, so that moon represents, if you have, like me, the moon in Gemini, then you're going to inherit the trait of Gemini, and then you are a Gemini.
Right.
Okay? And so is George Norrie, Art Bell,
Wow.
Oh, yeah, both of those guys are Gemini. Gemini is controlled by Mercury, which is the god with wings on his heels. And Mercury is the lord of communication, is also the lord of the thieves, lies and adapt and manipulate. I mean, Trump is also a Gemini. So you got to understand the values, the good and the bad of each sign of the zodiac. So your moon location is extraordinarily important. If you have the moon, for example, in Capricorn, you're going to be naturally dealing with life on a rational, practical way. You will like mathematics. You'll be like an engineer. If you have the moon in Pisces, a very different situation now. Pisces is a water sign. It's not an earth sign, which is rational, practical, down to earth. It's a spiritual sign. It's an artistical, intuitive sign. So that's what makes people so very different. Now, remember, you're related to your family genetically 150%. However, you have nothing whatsoever to do with your closest family member. In fact, you might be your biggest. They might be your biggest stranger because they don't think, they don't create, they don't behave, they don't have the same fate than you because they don't have the same stars or the same UCI, which is unique celestial identity. So the more you understand your position, your part in the cosmic schemes, the more you build the cosmic awareness, the more you understand how God speaks to us through the signs. And that's how you raise your cosmic consciousness, by being curious. And there's nothing more curious than the Gemini. And then that's why I am a Gemini at home. That's why I write books. This is why I have a 5-bedroom home. It's 2, 4, 6 is Gemini. This is why in my house I communicate and I talk, and it's I'm connecting with the world. And in Gemini, you could see a Gemini. It has that. It's find it very hard to stay still, like me. I'm always moving, trying to control myself, but I'm always moving. The more a person is active, or ADD or ADHD, which is a gift, by the way, Einstein was ADD. It's not a disorder. Then the more that person moves, the more you could see the Gemini in action in that person. I'm loaded with Gemini.
Wow, that's interesting.
And because it's 2, 4, 6, it gives me a gift of youth and a gift of 2 lives in one. Gemini. It's like Trump. He cannot have one hotel, one golf course, or one tweet. That's why it repeats itself 2 or 3 times in the same sentences. That's Gemini.
Oh, wow.
Make sense?
Yeah, I didn't know that.
There's a lot of things. And again, if you go to drturi.com, you can, on the top, you can click on any, if you're a Taurus, if you're a Virgo, if you're a Scorpio, Gemini, Pisces, you can click and you can read the basics trait attributed to each sign of the zodiac. But to really, really understand your celestial identity, you got to spend like, a minimum of 1 hour with me. Okay. And I tell my clients, you know what, you can't talk. You have all the time in the world to talk when you're done, especially Gemini, because they talk over me. It's part of their nature. So I have to discipline them. And I see the power of communication of any very strong Gemini. And then from there, I investigate the 12 specific houses, which represent, of course, the 12 hours of the day, the 12 months of the year, the 12 sins, the 12 jury, the 12 apostles, the 12 tribe of Israel, 12 notes of music. So this marvelous immaculate design that God gave us is to translate. He didn't put the stars just to be beautiful out there. He gave them to us for interpretation so that we may lead a safer, more productive life, because everything is written in light. However, the politically oriented churches didn't want you to know that. Okay, that's why all the popes were taught astrology by the Vatican Council, and that's why all the popes were enthroned under the sign of Leo, and that's why in their 75 miles of secret library you have the best of the rest of all the astrological work. And if you Google Dr. Turi Pope, you're going to see a lot of pictures inside of the Vatican with the stars, with the dragon, with everything that is all astrology. And remember those three king following the stars to the birth of Jesus. I mean, they didn't build turbocharged camel 2,000 years ago to follow stars. You can only follow stars when it's plotted in a map, which means those three kings, those three wise men, they were astrologers.
Oh, wow. Yeah,
but they don't want you to know. Knowledge is power. Ignorance is evil.
I read that you channel the solar energy Draco to do your predictions. Can you tell the audience who that is and or what that is?
Again, when you go to my movie on Amazon Prime, you will see a series of pictures that my wife took. That was in June 2012 during a solar eclipse. Okay, you can't forget that. And we went outside, and my wife has the camera, and she said, "Honey, I want to take pictures of the solar eclipse." And I said to her, "Okay, but don't look in the lens because you might just burn your eyes. Okay, do not do that." And then I was in front of her, and then she goes, choo, 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 choo. She took 6 pictures. Okay, and I was going, "What are you doing? Why?" Because I was afraid that she was going like, but she was not looking, but she was. And then when we developed those pictures, oh my God, now you can see Draco. It's like an orb. Mm-hmm. And believe me, you can be a master in Photoshop. You can duplicate this orb. You can see it coming to me closer and closer and closer. And then it's getting into my third eye and it come out of my heart. And then as of this day, I was able to make predictions that becomes totally unarguable, literally, to the point where the FBI visit me twice because I give exact date of terrorist attacks. But what I'm trying to say is Draco is an entity coming from the constellation of Draco. It is the base of the Draconis, not to be mingled with the Draconians, which are part of the reptilians or the reptilians, the negative group of extraterrestrials. The Draconis feed humans from the forces of the sun, light, love, the sun, Leo, France, Italy. That's why we are nations of lovers and artists, affecting our accent, making it romantic. All right. So while the reptilians or the reptilians or the Draconians, not the Draconis, the Draconians, now those their base is Pluto, which is the planet of death and drama. It's just at the verge of our solar system, and they are feeding humanity through dark matter. Dark matter meaning anything negative. They can only survive with fear, insecurity, chaos, murder. Their tools, the tool they use are illegal drugs and alcohol. So they are cosmic conscious. And they do not respect the Federation, the Galactic Federation or Grand Cosmic Order, make it sure that no extraterrestrials, good or bad, must interfere with the human's affair, unless, of course, there is specific, like in my case, specific purpose coming from there. So the reptilians don't care; they don't obey the laws. So they are cosmic conscious, and they hijack a human mind, body, and soul. And then people have a problem to understand that, which is actually very simple, because life is made in 2 forces: dark matter, and then you have the light. Day, night, up and down, black and white, God, devil, the yin and yang, front to back, male, female, positive, negative, the yin and yang, literally. So you have 2 eyes, 2 arms, 2 legs, 2 sides of the brain. We're all symmetrical. It's always 2, like 6 months, 1 year, 2 weeks, 2 weeks, 1 month. You could see the symmetry in everything. So the reptilians are on one side of your brain, okay, and the Draconis are constantly stimulating the other side of your brain. So they stimulate the mind of scientists to create create nukes, to weaponize the weather, to create viruses, to kill, to destroy the dark, the energy, the evil, Satan. And then you have the white, the sun, love and light. These are the scientists are stimulated by the Draconis to create technology to get your heart going, to fix your brain, to fix to use technology like we're doing now in order to communicate. There is always a positive and negative in anything, and people are looking for extraterrestrials. You know what? There is some rules if you want to look for extraterrestrial, not to attract the Draconis, the reptilians. You got to be careful. If you want to, we could talk, for example, about Travis Walton. Walton, he was in the middle of the mountain in a track that's still with a gun, with tools. Maybe he had a knife, God knows what. And that is a perfect magnet for the reptilians. Because with metal, you create weaponry, tanks, machinery, guns, bullets, a knife. That's metal. While the Draconis, the sun, the metal for the sun is gold. So if you carry gold, you never rust. Gold is love and light. It's to show your attention forever. And like the metal, it won't rust. So it has a value of light. So let's say gold is positive, light, and then metal, steel, is actually negative. Incidentally, look at Germany. The best steel that you can find in the world is to be found in the mountain of Bavaria in Germany. And Germany is a warrior nation. That's why even their language is very army-like. Yeah. Very strong, contrary to the French, which is Léo. Mais oui, je vous aime bien, monsieur, madame. It's different energy. So if you want to look for the good extraterrestrial, stay away from your car, okay? Make sure to go after the waxing moon to be protected. You swim with the tide. If you swim after the tide, you're not going to go nowhere. Okay, that's the law. And then you have to make sure you go into a Uranic window, and then they're going to be there. And then you can get your camera, and then there you go. Oh, there is all sorts of things that you have to keep in mind if you want to delegate with extraterrestrials. It's like people who want to delegate the world of the spirit. You got to be careful. If you don't know anything about the world of the spirit, you may get hijacked by the low entities or the reptilians that reside in the superconscious in time and space. There's a lot of information that a lot of people don't have to protect themselves. But when you start to delegate into metaphysics, you better know what you're doing. It's like if you try to drive a Ferrari and you never drove a Ferrari, you might just crash it. You got to be careful with the power.
Yeah, that makes a lot of sense.
Yeah.
Well, we all know that 2020 was a terrible year for the U.S. What are your predictions for the U.S. for 2021? Is it going to be a good year, or what have you seen so far?
Well, unless I have, in order for me to go into the future, I have to bring you into the past. Makes sense? Sure. So you get the balance. Last couple of years, the tail of the dragon, which is a very negative energy, was in the sign of Capricorn. And Capricorn is the sign that regulates politics to start with. Capricorn is the symbol chosen by Christians to represent the head of the devil. It's the head of a goat. Doesn't mean Capricorn are negative. It's just Capricorn is a goat that claim the mountain of power and success. And when they have it, then the government, they do what the hell they want. They don't pay tax or whatever. So it's the Capricorn is evil because it regulates the snobs, the rich, the powerful corporation, the government. So last couple of years, the tail of the dragon was in this sign. So we had a government shutdown. President Trump was impeached. Capricorn was also the snobs and the rich and the royal. See what happened with England. See what happened with the royal. Everything negative. Capricorn was old people. They died quite a lot. Capricorn was all large corporation. Everything went down the drain. So that energy is now gone as of May the 15, 2020. We have a new dragon's tail and a new dragon's head. The dragon's head is Gemini. Okay, Gemini is all about talking, and in reference to President Trump, he's a Gemini. So people, radio, television are controlled by Gemini and Mercury, newspaper, magazine. That's why the world cannot stop talking about Trump, because he's a Gemini, born with the head of the dragon in Gemini, conjuncting the year of the dragon in Gemini. And that's why we've been talking nonstop, writing nonstop, and you cannot take yourself away from the talking of the day. Trump. Yeah. Okay. I'm not being political, understand me. I'm just trying to explain the stars. Now, the tail of the dragon is in Sagittarius. Sagittarius rules anything and everything to do with foreigners and foreign lands. Trump was born with that tail of the dragon. All right, so Sagittarius tail rules also Black people, the Chinese, the minority, and particularly the Indians. That's why the nasty dragon, because of COVID-19, killed them, so to speak, make them more vulnerable. The tail of the dragon was also higher education, college, university. We got across in there, the kids couldn't go to school. So when you have a president that has a set of stars, we could compare to Hitler, for example. Okay, well, all the people who have put this person in power will have to suffer the idiosyncrasy and the stars of the person they put in power. It's pretty much like you have a family, you have 5 or 6 kids, and you're a Mormon, for example, or a Jehovah, Witness of Jehovah, or Scientologist. The rest of the family, because you're the bread maker, you're the boss, you're the president, the rest of the family will have to suffer either or being blessed because of your stars. Make sense?
Yeah.
So in a few years in the future, as the age of Aquarius kicks in, this is where people will realize you cannot elect a president because he has a lot of money, or because he's able to manipulate you, or because he's famous. In the future, people will elect president because they have the right stars that fit their countries. But I'm a little bit ahead of time, though. But in time, it will happen. That's why a lot of people want to know what's going on with God cosmic design outside of conventional religious or traditional scientific disciplines. So everything is changing for the best for humanity. It's all about unification. The age of Aquarius is unification. You like it or not, this world is getting smaller, because technology, Aquarius rules technology, UFOs, the future of humanity, humanitarianism. We are moving into this age, and the age of Aquarius rules astrology. So it will become the universal religion, because regardless of your colors or your genes, regardless of wherever you are, okay, the color of your skin, you have a set of stars. A religion separates. There is 875 different religions that were created by the reptilians to create chaos, because religions has killed more people than all the wars, all the natural disaster, and all the virus combined together. Religion. We had 100 years of war between the Christians, the Catholic, and the Protestants in France. So we decided to shut down the church, open the bars, and let our girls go topless on the beach. We have grown, okay? But America is a very different situation. America is a puritanical, the puritanical people came to this country to protect their religion, and they create this big, huge mess, so to speak. But at least we respect each other's religion. But I'm trying to say, when it comes to astrology, you have sun sign, you have a moon sign, you have a location of any planet in your chart, and you have a dragon's head and tail and so forth. So once you become cosmic conscious, you understand others. And understanding others makes you more compassionate, because you're more intelligent. You raise your vibration to God cosmic design. So it allows you for forgiveness, for understanding, compassion. While religion is a different story. Oh, no, I'm in my box and that's it. But there is reasons for everything. Every single country on this planet is controlled by the stars, and people do not know that. For example, the Middle East, where Jesus was born, okay, is a Pisces area. Pisces is controlled by Neptune, the planet of deception, illusion, gas, drugs, alcohol, religion. And that's why all the deadliest, youngest religions were born in the Middle East. This country poisoned not just only the mind in terms of religion, ISIS, extreme, of course, wants to kill you if you don't respect the caliphate, but it also poisons with oil. Oil is to be found in the Middle East, poison the air. So that's why the Middle Eastern people are in their ball, in their tank, and they cannot see outside of their world, the West, because they're in their world. Pisces is in this world of deception, illusion, drugs, alcohol. If you have a strong Pisces in your chart, you will naturally be prone to addiction. It's just the laws. People don't know that. And our infantile scientific community, all that pseudoscience, don't touch it. And religion, don't touch it. Listen to Dr. Turi, you're going to go to hell. They don't want you to know. That's the Illuminati want to control. They all know, they all use it, but they don't want to give it to you. That's what I'm doing. Pass it on to the populations. It's so much to talk about astrology, and I can't wait to have my new movie. My new movie is coming up soon on Amazon Prime again. I did so well with the first one that they decided to make another movie, which is also being translated in different languages. So the new age of Aquarius, helped by the Draconis, it put me in a position finally where I can reach the masses. Because as a rule, the reptilians, or the Draconian, as you call them, they put people in power that have no business in power. They do it on purpose, so they create more chaos, more problems, more food for the darkness, for evil, for Satan. And then you have light and love in God on the other side. In reference to Jesus, for example, as we said earlier, you can't follow a star on a camelback. Okay, Jesus wanted to introduce humanity to our Father in the heavens. That was his celestial, cosmic religion. Astrology, that's what he was doing, okay? And the 12 apostles represent the essence of the wisdom of the 12 stars, the 12 signs of the zodiac. But the politically oriented churches of those days, the wisdom could only be given to the church, to the priests, to the clergy, because they had the money, they had the structure, they had the church, they control everything. So they thought, we can't give that to peasants. And during those days, you know what, 2,000 years ago, people were not exactly smart. So it's easy to follow 10 commandments than to go through the entire complexity of understanding the cosmic code, as I said, or God cosmic design. So at my age now, 70 years old, I spend all my life rekindling Nostradamus' work. And my work has nothing to do with modern astrology, which start and finish on your horoscope newspaper, loaded with mathematical jargon. Mine is so simple and is so incredibly accurate and easy to assimilate. We teach that on our website. We have a bunch of students on the Cosmic Code website. And then people are more and more interested in finally going back to the source, going back to where we all came from, the stars, because we are all children of the universe. There's no accident for us to be here. And that's what it is.
Well, I've checked out your YouTube channel some, and I recommend everybody to do so. And I believe on your YouTube channel, it may have even been your latest video. If not, it was the one before. And you had mentioned something about something's going on the 12th, 13th, and 14th. I'm not sure the exact days,
Correct.
but you said stay home. So can you tell us what you meant by that?
Yeah.
What you mean by that?
This is a dance of dance of evil. The reptilians are going to use the plutonic energy. It's like there is days where you wish you never get up. You get up, bad phone, flat tire, stopped by the cops, break your neck, whatever. And there's days where everything works. So we are going into this dark shadow where the reptilians are going to be leading the world this weekend, this upcoming weekend, for 3 or 4 days. I gave you the date, 14th, whatever. Let's see again. I think it is the 13th, the 14th, and the 15th. That's where and the energy is already in action. It's so strong. It's already happening. So I always says that cops kill innocent people, and innocent and people kill cops. It's happening today. We had one cop that was killed, and we had another cop that killed a crook. So that is an omen. This is the energy that is moving. So you're talking about news about the dark. Our enemy is Russia. Which Russia is a Scorpio country. Okay. And in one of my videos, I said, I worry a lot about Russia. In fact, I mentioned it on my movie. I also mentioned that Trump would not be reelected last September. Well, John Hogg won on coast to coast the night before, and you get the prediction on all the television. So that's ridiculous. There's so many prophet wannabe. I don't want to go there. But what I'm trying to say is this energy coming to us is going to be kind of a wake-up call for a lot of people. That's where emotion is going to rise to the top. And in the eternal battle between logic and emotions, emotion always wins. Emotion is fear. Emotion is anger. Even love is emotion. So you're going to have that nasty window coming in, and the reptilians are going to drive people insane. That's where you have fire. It's where you have the death wish generation. Kids born with Pluto in Scorpio, they regenerate constantly with death and drama. They tattoo themselves. They sign up for gangs. They can only live in this element of ugliness and dirt and death and drama. There are people like that. And then these are the ones who gets active and burn everything down. And that's coming. So famous people die. A lot of famous people die. There is a high possibility for terrorist attack. In fact, I made that prediction during one of these windows, and I do it in your show. And then I don't want the FBI to visit me again twice, okay? Because I did that. I went to their website and I said, be ready on that day for this big mess and terrorist attack, and it happened. But what I'm trying to say is stay home. During that day, you just don't want to do it. You don't want to be part where there is action, and because you might lose your life. The drama of the experience can be, we stay with you for the rest of your life. So you might as well stay home and watch TV and have fun. That's why when I see those windows, and there is people, you don't know better. They take a holiday, they go on a cruise, they celebrate a birthday during those windows. If they knew about it, at least they'd be more careful. Because this is what happened in certain city. Those kids have been partying. Next thing someone come with a car and kill the 6-year-old that hanging around there. It happened all the time. And unless you educate these people, it's not going to stop. I mean, I don't think the U.S. Department of Education, we have Dr. Turi, or my student in our school, college, and university to teach the kids how they connected with God. That's against the status quo, that's against the church, that's against our scientific proof. See? So that's my dilemma. This is why people like you are a fantastic channel, because even if we reach a small amount of people, okay, it's still an opening, because these people talk and they become curious and they want to know more. And here we go. That's why I started my YouTube channel.
Sounds like it's going to be potentially a really bad day, not just your TV not working. Weekend. I mean, like bad stuff happening.
Yeah. In about a year from now, there's going to be a really, really negative cosmic wind. I call it the dance of evil coming up, the reptilian dance of evil. I see problem with Russia, of course, our enemies. The good news is the financial world is going to be completely and entirely restructured, all the banks, all the money. So that's the good news for America. That's the good news. There might be a lot of distraction in forcing a rebuilding process, right? And we are going to go through death and rebirth with the new president. So there is all sorts of interesting energy that are coming that I already have predicted in my movies on Amazon Prime before Biden was elected. So, if you know how to read the sign, you're going to know what's going on, because people don't understand. You are part of the celestial dust. You're a part of a humongous system, but you have been trained to miss the entire system, the entire forest, to look at a tree. This is our education. That's why Einstein mentioned that. It's pretty much like also, what is his name? I forgot his name. Tesla.
Yeah.
Tesla said that there is a core in the universe that has all the answers for everything. He knows that it exists, but he never found it. I did. And I'm not saying this on a, I'm the best, an egocentric point of view. I'm saying this because I prove it. It's real, and people should dig into it. I know exactly why people life is miserable. I know exactly why Trump could have easily won that election, but he made one mistake. He didn't follow his stars. He didn't know his entourage and his daughter too young. They're not cosmic conscious. It's like when I say to my student, if Hitler had me as his astrologer, okay, I would have said to him, Hitler, listen, stop everything everywhere. Focus and concentrate only in the UK, England, because that's where you have your tail of the dragon. You would have said, what does it mean? I said, that's where the beginning of the end starts for you. So you need to focus and destroy that. If you manage to do that, there's nothing going to stop you to run the entire world, at least Europe.
Wow, that's interesting. Let me catch some questions.
Lucky it didn't have me.
Yeah, we're lucky. We'd all be speaking German. Let me catch let me catch a couple questions here. I would like to know if you have a prediction of my country. We had a war for a month. Our prime minister just signed an unspeakably painful agreement with Russia and Azerbaijan. So the country he's talking about is Armenia. Do you know much about what's going on with that? And
much too close to Russia for comfort.
Yeah, they said that their prime minister did it behind their backs. And do you see any bright future for the country of Armenia? But right now, it doesn't look that good.
No, it's too close to Russia. There is, how can I explain that? I don't want to be negative because I don't want to support a negative thought. However, I was asked a question, and I cannot make up stories to make him happy. He better be prepared, because Russia is not going to do the tail of the dragon for a year and a half, 2 years. It's going to be right on top of Russia. The good news is that maybe Putin died of a heart attack, like Kim Jong-un. Both of them will die of heart attack, mark my words. Okay, in a year, 2 years, 10 years, I don't know. But both will go of heart attacks. And maybe he dies, and then the country is in turmoil, and the dance of evil doesn't exit the border of Russia. But as long as Putin is in power, he's going to expand. And neighboring countries, I already made that prediction in my movie, so I did not know. He will have to fight like we all do. We have to fight for our freedom. We have to fight the evil. But the stars are going to go on the side of the evil for a couple of years.
Wow. That's interesting.
But life is a constant process of changes. Okay, it's like the weather, it's like the news, everything changes. So, I have a really, really good friend from that country. Okay, and I tell you what, like when we were invaded by Hitler, we had to fight the hell, and we lost a lot of people. This is an energy that's coming. We have to be careful.
All right, here's another question. Astrology teaches us that Pluto, as it progresses around the zodiac, spending 15 years in each sign, marks the characteristics of the generation born during each period. Why do you call the generation between 2008 and 2023 the future builders?
Because this is, as we move into technology, as we move into cosmic consciousness, we also move into the understanding of the superconscious in time and space. When I say the future is a reincarnation of the thought, for example, one has to remember that. Now, what was this 50 years ago? What was this 20 years ago? What was this? What was the car you drive? What was the city you're in right now? Paris, New York, Washington, D.C., 1,000, 2,000 years ago? Nothing. We have been made in the image of God, which means we have the power to create. Humans have not yet understood that. We can only create for the Draconis or the reptilians. The reptilians wants darkness. They don't want any growth. They want to gather as many human beings and turn them into slaves so that they reinforce their dark energy where they reside to infect other solar system. The Draconis, of course, are doing the opposite. They're constantly battling. What's going down here is something that's taking place above your head already. There's a battle above your head between those entities. And we are the ramification of all that, between the good and the bad, evil and God. So Pluto is the tiniest little planet in our solar system. And I used to fight with a bunch of idiots many years ago who classified Pluto as a dwarf planet. I said, no, it is a planet. It is a planet. Everybody was laughing at me. And then finally, with the technology proved me right, because I always say the future has and will always be my utmost faithful witness. The future will always be back me up because I can see the future and I see it good. I see it real. So as Pluto is even more important to know where your Pluto is in your chart, because that is where not only the reincarnation principle will take place, but also the regeneration principle. Wherever you have Pluto or Scorpio in your chart, you are at your best. You are at your strongest. You are at your most perceptive. In fact, I am a Scorpio when I teach. That's why I'm to the point and I'm real. Okay. Now, you are a Scorpio. Scorpio is a sign of night. Okay. So you're a Gemini. Okay. June, July, August, September, October, November. You're a Scorpio in your 6 hours of work, which means you work at night, like George Norrie, Art Bell. In the night, they're talking and they're investigating. They're investigator, they're FBI agent by nature. See, that's where you have your regeneration principle, by investigating, by communicating. Okay, so a lot of people do not know the power of Pluto in their chart, and they don't regenerate, so they end up killing themselves or killing others. It's sacrilege, as we say in French, to have taking away the essence of creation, the mother of all science, from humanity, because the huge chaos we're in today is because of this lack of cosmic consciousness, this lack of ignorance that has been replaced by ridiculous archaic teaching, religion, or the atheist who believe that the science has all the answers.
Yeah.
And that's where we are.
I've noticed on your YouTube channel that you have an ability of also predicting earthquakes or planetary events.
Yep.
Do you see anything coming up anytime soon?
Yes, I'm going to give you a couple of days for earthquake. I want you to write it down. It will be, let's see, the 20th. Okay, so remember the energy starts before and after on the 20th. 10 days from now or so. Expect a sudden release of energy, cosmic news, explosion, shocking news, earthquakes above 6.0. You know, I sent an email many years ago to the Seismologist Institute in Pasadena, in NASA. I said on October the 6th and October the 8th, expect earthquake above 7.0. On October the 6th and October the 8th, earthquakes above 7.0 hit Mexico. I have the date. I have the email exchange of these people. Only one person, there was a NASA student, says, "Oh my gosh, Dr. Turi, you hit it on the nail on the head." He was rewarding me for me being there because he read the email. But none of these people has ever answered me, because immediately off pseudoscience. Oh, ridiculous. It's like, problem is, I constantly, even today we had a 6.0 during my window, and every one of my window will produce an earthquake, and the one before a couple of days ago was a 6.1. See, my window always generate earthquake at or above 6.0. So on that date that I just gave you on the 20th, be ready, because this could also translate into a tsunami, volcano, tornado, God knows what. It's going to be a shocking type of window.
Before I ask you another question, I just have a comment that it says, "Dr. Turi, I like your FBI hat. It makes you look cool."
You know what? I am the reason why I wear an FBI hat is because I have to remind myself to be careful with the FBI. But it's because I am the first cosmic cop. I'm teaching humanity to respect the laws written light by God Himself. You know, people, look at this. My hand has two sides. Okay, now because you don't see the other side, it doesn't mean it doesn't exist. There is physical laws, red light, stop sign, ARS, DMV, whatever. You got to respect the laws written by man. Mm-hmm. And then you have another set of laws that's written by God. Okay?
I like that.
And I am a FBI. I am the first cosmic cop teaching you the law. So when you have the FBI and the police that have absolutely no clue of the law themselves, they die. They never come back home. It'd be so easy for them to have my software because I don't predict anything. I'm not a psychic. I'm an astrologer. I'm an astrophile, right? The cops, they could have my software in, and then they have access to the date of birth. In 1 second, by pushing a button, they would know immediately if they're dating with someone which is a plutonic born, which means they want to kill. They won't respect the law. They are totally reptilian infected. Cops do not know that. And that's why they die. But I have a good friend of mine. He is a retired police chief in New York, and his son, they are a student of mine. They're desperate because they're trying so hard to help me. But, I'm so ahead of time. I have to wait for the world to grow up a little bit. And then one day the police will use that, and they will know immediately if that person is safe just by looking at the date of birth. Immediately, they'll be trained to build a reflex like any of my students to know who you are immediately. And that's why the church took that away from us, because it's too much power.
All right, I'm going to put you on the spot here, Dr. Turi. You said that in 2013, we only have 50 years left on planet Earth. Are you still sticking by that prediction, or have you changed your mind on that?
No, sad enough, I am not. So that was 10 years. Well, how many years is that?
7 years ago?
A few years ago. 7 or 8 years ago. I did a TV show with George Norrie, and I told him that. I mean, look, if you do not raise our children cosmic consciousness, they won't regenerate. If you don't educate, knowledge is power, ignorance is evil. If you do not educate these people, they won't regenerate. This means they're going to become destructive. They're going to become slaves of the reptilians. And so far, we're not making the progress I'd like to see. Now, when I see my first astropsychological school operational, hopefully before I die, I know for sure the world will have a chance to enjoy the blessing of the New Age of Aquarius. And the New Age of Aquarius means also the sudden release of energy or nukes. And America is a Cancer country, July 4, 1776. That's why a lot of Americans died of the fork, because this country can produce food for the rest of the world. It's so big. Okay, home, family, apple pie, football. America, July, Cancer. We understand that, controlled by the moon. America was born with the head of the dragon in Leo. America was set by God for America to be a country who leads all other country, who guide and help other country. And then when you have a president, I'm not saying names, who have a negative set of stars and put America in a box, is going against God's ultimate design. But our president and all our leaders are not cosmic conscious, and they have been put there by the reptilians on top of that. And that's one of the reasons when I don't have much faith in the future. I don't want to follow what Nostradamus and all prophets have said. We're going to end up in the apocalyptic time. No. The part of God in us, or our will, is so much stronger than the stars, than the evil of the reptilians, than God knows what. But without education, we're going to be robots of those stars that are going to be manipulated by the reptilians. That's going to put a dead end for us. America was born with the tail of the dragon. Okay, this country is born with the tail of the dragon in Aquarius. Aquarius is a sudden release of energy, aeronautic, airplane, explosion. Look what happened with Pearl Harbor. Look what happened 9/11, which I predicted 2 years before in great detail, by the way. Okay, look what happened. This country is prone to a nuclear attack. And then, incidentally, look at Japan. Japan is an Aquarius country. They are the first people on the planet to have experienced the sudden release of energy from Americans. They experienced the bomb twice. This is serious. But if I had access to the masses, of course, I don't think I'll be soon on CNN or Fox talking about astrology. But, if I was able to reach the masses and educate them on the superconscious and educate them with the stars, the universal thought process will turn immediately to a much more progressive, positive outcome led by the Draconis. So my school is that light, is that spark that I see, that is ultimately, after all the reasoning and all my prediction, the only way out. And it's very serious. So that give us another 40-something years to live on planet Earth.
Wow.
So hopefully, keep my finger crossed, I win the lottery.
Yeah.
or I get some support. Somebody give me enough money to make my school.
We need one of these Saudi princes to see your Patreon and donate you for him, which would be change out of his pocket.
Well, and you know what? There are people that who wants to help, but those who control the media, those guru wannabe, those prophet wannabe, those people, they're sad. These people have access to these people, not to the real thing. But you know what? It's karmic. This is God's will, not my will, not your will. It's God's will. We got to go that way. We're in hell. You're not going to go to hell. This is it. We're not smart enough to learn by reading books. That's why we feel. You get a smack on your face, you hurt. You know when you did something wrong. It burns, it hurts. So we're in hell. Okay. And it's through the process of pain and suffering that we grow and we understand. The idea of my school is to help all the people to go above, above into the universal mind where God resides, and then from there go under to see how you understand how you stand under your stars. That's the goal. Go up there, see how you stand under, and understand the magnificent, immaculate work of God's creations.
That's interesting. It's interesting. It also brought a thought to mind because you were saying it's kind of like you're standing, but you were understanding.
Yeah.
And it just kind of brought a thought to my mind is I used to have a friend that was from Jamaica and he spoke some of the Rastafarian language. And they don't like to use the word understand when you're learning something because you're below it. So when they understand something, they say we overstand.
Well, that's the idea. But first you have to go above in order to see how you stand under it. And that's the problem. That's the challenge. But I'm doing my best. And I got a lot of people that finally get it. Slowly but surely they get in there. It takes time.
If you don't mind, I have another question here. It says, Dr. Turi, I am a Capricorn. Can you help me, please, with your predictions? I appreciate it very much.
Well, the last couple of years, the tail of the dragon was in Capricorn. So relationships facing the world was kind of a restructured. Right now, the tail of the dragon is in the subconscious of that person. So she has to be careful not to go downhill. Stay away from drugs and alcohol, legal or illegal pots. Can't touch anything like this. You can pray God, but not the Bible God, the spiritual God, put it this way, is what I would say to her. The head of the dragon is in the 6th house of work and health. So there is great opportunity coming. And then she was born with the head of the dragon in Aquarius, so technology, computers, that's where she has opportunity, television, anything that serves the world. She has great opportunity. I see also communication and writing with that person. I see problem with joints also. And a bit of depression, joint meaning the knees. But I have my 2021 Nostradamus Dragon forecast is very affordable because not many people can throw $700 on Dr. Turi or $350 is a lot of money. But at the same time, the information, you're talking about your life. And, I'm constantly doing reading and more people are just totally blown away by the information because it's a life savior. It's worth it to spend the money with somebody who knows what he's doing because there is rules that apply to every one of us, but it's written in the stars, and every one of us is so different. So I have to look inside of that UCI, that unique celestial identity, and they'll point out, okay, that's your 10th house of career. That's where you're going to regenerate. That's your fear. That's your negativity. And I can look in the past, their past life. I can check everything. So, just to give a mini reading on the air, it's not going to help her. I would say get the 2021 Nostradamus Dragon forecast. That's affordable. That's why I wrote it for the masses. And if you can't afford it, face me on Zoom. And don't expect me to spare you, but I guarantee that the voyage you're going to start will never end. In good hands, what I'm saying.
All right, Dr. Turi, you have a lot of things going on. You just had one movie out on Amazon Prime. You've got another movie coming out on Amazon Prime. You've got many, many books. What other projects do you got going on that you want people to know about?
Well, I want to become a boat captain.
Oh, that's interesting.
That's my project.
Really?
I'm a Pisces. Yeah, I love boating. I love exotic places. So that's my I'm a Pisces. I have the head and the tail affecting my 10th house of career in my home. So that means I might have to move to Florida. That's where I want to be. And my career will have to change. So this is me making my own forecast of restructure of my career, restructure of the base of operation. This doesn't mean that I will not serve the world. Don't get me wrong. But this is something I want to do. I want to go to the Bermuda Triangle. I'm so pushed to go there. I can't explain why. I want to be a boat captain. I want to go into the Bermuda Triangle. It's inside of me. I can't get it out. I want to do that. Why? Don't ask me.
Wow,
so
that's interesting.
I'm telling you something that is very private, but I want to share it with you and your audience because you asked me. And I'm not going to tell you anything else than what it is. In between, God knows, I have a bunch of radio show coming up. I have, it changes. Everything's on call, an email. I can go anywhere. With COVID-19, COVID-19 is going to be with us until 2022 January. So it will go. It's, what's interesting, you've probably heard of the Spanish flu. Okay. Right. The exact same position of the stars took place when the Spanish flu cursed the world. Exactly the same stars pattern. And I know when it started, that's why I predicted it. And I know when it finished, that's why I predicted it, right? But there is also a reason to why we have this, and that's going to get a little bit deeper. And I don't want to be political because we're spiritual, okay? The most powerful man on the planet, Mr. Trump, okay? What he wanted to do is to build a big wall because of stars. Tail of the dragon in Sagittarius, pushing everybody away from us. That's just his stars. Fear of foreigners, fear of whatever. I don't want to go there. What I'm trying to say is there's millions and billions of people on planet Earth that are also racist. They don't like foreigners. They hate foreigners. They hate America. So all this thought combined together, stimulated by the reptilians, created COVID-19. There is no need of a wall anymore. The wall is already there. It's a virus. It was set by the initial thought of the most powerful man on the planet. So now that he's slowly but surely losing power, there's more good news about COVID-19. We now have a good vaccine with 90% coming. Exactly as I said, once Trump gets out of the pictures, COVID-19 will start to lose power because the reptilians are losing grasp. But people don't think that way. They can enter the archetypal realm of supracosmic consciousness and relate to something which is so highly spiritual. But me, I do. And I'm trying to pass it on in very simple English terms. It sometimes does not necessarily correlate. Make sense? But that's what it is. That's where the virus is. And it's moving away like a bad weather. It's going to go. And then instead of spending hours and hours looking down on your tablet or your phone and butting head with everybody because you don't know where the hell you are, you're going to start to hug again and kiss and high five. Because there was a time where everybody was looking down. You didn't know how critical it was to hug somebody, to be close to somebody, to connect with human being. So we've been disconnected. There is a karmic energy involving all this. To appreciate what it means to hug again, to be with your friend without fear, not to have your friend as your secret enemy because he might kill you because of a disease. There is a philosophy. There is a higher order imposed by God. This karmic work that we have to endure. And it's going to go in time.
Mm. Mm. All right. What are the ways people can contact you? You have a website. Are you on Facebook as well?
Facebook is packed. I had one who had over 10,000 people during those days. You can have more than that. Now it's 5,000. I cannot have any more people. I would strongly recommend people to join my YouTube channel. They're very simple. Go to drturi.com, drturi.com. There you're going to scroll down. You can watch my UFO movies, but there is also access to YouTube. Click on that. There is access to become on the Cosmic Code if you want to have our guidance every single month. We create a daily, universal, and personal guidance. We tell people where the moon is, up and down, and in what sign, all the SOS to the world windows. We tell you everything in great detail. We have about, over 10,000 people on the private website. So you can join that website. But mostly, I would say your best shot, if you just want to learn and regenerate, is a YouTube channel. And the YouTube channel always had a newsletter. It's critical once you have listened to me on YouTube to click on the link and read the newsletter, because there is always something that's going on that I cannot talk about when I'm on the YouTube. So that's the best shot. drturi.com, and then have fun. It's a big, huge website. It's a 1950 website, okay? It's like a labyrinth. You're going to click somewhere, you're going to be in the moon. Click somewhere else, you're going to be on Mars. It's all over the place. But that's how I like it. I like it because, I have no memory, okay? I don't remember people's name or telephone or stupid directions, but I don't get lost in the universe. That's the beauty of me.
If somebody wants to check out your books, do you get them from your website or do you get them from Amazon?
Website too. Amazon, they're all over the place, and Amazon too. Yeah, you can get my books there. There's a new one coming up. It's called UFO, The Final Revelation. Probably going to be the last book I write. It's going to be a big book where I'm going to talk about the philosophical, like we talk tonight, but I'm going to write about it, and I'm going to channel Draco much more information for the future. And then we go from there. When I got time to do it, because I'm so busy, it's crazy. I got tons and tons of work to do, but I'm doing what I can.
All right, Dr. Turi, before we wrap it up here, do you have one last message that you can leave the audience with?
Yeah, I want your audience to say after me, okay? My future.
Okay.
Is nothing else. Than the reincarnation. Of my thoughts. Yeah. If you say that every night, okay, the next morning, if you have a problem, you're going to have an answer, because you're connecting with the superconscious. And then you come to the realization that there's nothing you cannot be, nothing you cannot do. If you truly, truly believe and tap on this power, it's in you. You're more than blood, flesh, and nerve. You're a human being. You've been made in the image of God. You have an incredible power, and you need to tap in it. And you start by saying, my future is nothing else than the reincarnation of my thoughts. That's my message to you.
That was great. Thank you very much.
Well, you're surely welcome. I really appreciate being with you, and God bless you for being a channel to help pass my cosmic wisdom.
I really appreciate you coming on and being a guest, Dr. Turi. I wish you the best. I wish you massive success, and I hope you get that boat really soon.
I will. Give my regards to your mom.
Okay, thank you. God bless you. Bye-bye.
Bye.